Alright, hey guys, John here with another Switch 2 video. So today I'm going to show you guys how I stream my Switch 2 to my computer and into a program like OBS. So I've been enjoying my Switch 2 for about a week now. I've been playing like a handful of games, a lot of Switch 2 exclusives like the GameCube, Mario Kart World, as well as the upgrades. Having a blast with it, but I actually had to upgrade my computer, specifically my game capture card, in order to output it to my 4K TV here in my office. So a lot of people might be wondering, how do you stream your console to your PC? Well, there's a couple of different options. One, you could get an external game capture card. Here's my old EVGA XR1 Pro. Had this for a while now. This only captures at 1080 60, but it's external. So this is good for something like a laptop or something, right? And then here is my old game capture card, which is the Elgato HD60 Pro. This has been treating me pretty well. However, this also only captures at 1080p 60. Right, and it only outputs 1080p 60. So you can technically capture the Switch 2 with these just fine. Just note that you're only going to be capturing at a 1080p 60 FPS quality, and the output back to your TV, right, is only going to be that as well. So if you want to take advantage of the Switch 2 at its fullest resolution, I recommend getting something like the AVerMedia Live Gamer 4K 2.1. So they have an external version of this too, but I prefer internal PCIe capture cards just because it's ultimate low latency, and you might as well use some of the PCIe slots inside your computer if it's not being used for anything else. And I've had this one in my other PC downstairs and it's great, and so I really recommend this. I'm not sponsored. I wish I was. Please sponsor me at AVerMedia. Yeah, let's install this in my computer and then I'll show you guys how to stream the Nintendo Switch to your PC. Alright, so here I am. I have my PC on the table opened up again. I just took out my old capture card, which is the Elgato HD60 Pro. This has served me well for about like 7 to 8 years. Unfortunately now I have to upgrade it because the most I can do is 1080p 60 pass through and recording. So yeah, here is the AVerMedia Live Gamer 4K I mentioned. I've had another one of this and another one on computers. This is an awesome card, would highly recommend this, even over the current Elgato. Just because it's like similar price point, and this just comes with so many more features. Doing a little size comparison here, obviously because it's capturing at 4K 60 and pass through 4K 144, it's going to be a little bit bigger than my old capture card, but it's going to use the similar space in the PC. It does have more PCIe lanes, so do note that if you have an old capture card, it's going to be using like probably X2. This looks like it's using an X4, I believe. So yeah, just note that it's gonna take a little bit more, and it's just gonna be a little bit bigger, but it could still fit in my case with my dimensions. Alright, so there it is, nice and tidy in my secondary PCIe slots. Now I know there is kind of a bit of an issue with fitting it in most PC cases, because ideally you fit it above the GPU because there's no fan here. Unfortunately, because of a big beefy 4070 Ti Super, it's going to take up 3 slots, so the only place I can put it is there. Luckily, I've had a similar setup with my old PCIe card, and temperatures haven't affected it that much. I think also having this fan here helps the airflow intake a lot for the GPU, so I think this will do just fine. Alright, so now with my new video game capture card in my PC, I'm going to now boot up the PC and install it. Note that I do have a dock upstairs. This is another dock that I bought just to have it in my office. There's my old OLED switch right there. And yeah, just make sure this is hooked up. Again, make sure you're using either the original Switch 2 dock cables or external one that supports, 4K 120, HDMI 2.1, whatever you need. Just make sure all of that is plugged in correctly, both to your TV. Up there, I have an LG CX OLED up there, and also back down to your PC. Make sure all the cables are HDMI 2.1 compatible. Alright, so if you are successful installing your PCIe capture card, usually it'll bring up something like their software to update. If not, go to the website and download the drivers. But this is the Assist Central Pro from AVerMedia, and the one thing you're going to want to do right away is make sure, one, you have the latest update of the software. I already updated it, check for the updates, and more importantly, make sure the firmware version is up to date. So check for updates on this one and make sure it's all good there. And in this one, you can also check the HDMI compatibility. It tells you all the resolutions you're able to record with on your current monitor. The preferred resolution will just be whatever max your monitor can support, but there's also extended ones too. But more importantly, I'm going to be showing you how to do this on OBS. Alright, so I'm just going to be recording my screen just to tell you guys. So when you open up OBS, what you want to do is just make a new scene and then just have your game capture device here, right? I set the source to be the Live Gamer 4K 2.1 video, and then you can leave it at whatever resolution you want to record. So I only have a 2K monitor, so that's why it's 2560 1440. However, the output pass-through is always going to be 4K 144, okay, with VRR pass as well, and HDR and all the goodies. So it's going to output all of that to your TV up there, but your capture, obviously you're limited to whatever your monitor input is. You can do some fancy tricks to get it to output higher, but just make sure that it can detect your Live Gamer 4K 2.1 video. All right, so I'm going to turn it on right now. The switch dock is turning on, my Pro controller right here, and if everything's good, you should be able to see the output on your OBS. Now, if you also want audio, all right, what I highly recommend, all right, is you go to your game capture device and the audio mixer and make sure your monitor and output are selected for the game capture device. What this allows you to do, right, is now you can hear the menu sounds as I'm going through the switch, and as low of a latency as possible. Don't use the other settings, it's just going to add additional lag. But this, you can reasonably play it off OBS, and I know some streamers do this as well. If you just want to play it off your monitor, this is pretty good for everything except for maybe the highest end competitive games. But even then, like, this is a really good alternative to playing. All right, and then the most important thing is for the pass-through functionality, right? So let's say you have your 4K TV up there, like I have it mounted, and I'm gonna go to the PC. There we go. So there it is. And notice how it activated the LG Instant Game Response. So this is now outputting at 4K 60 FPS as the switch dock at this moment in time is able to do. But let's double check the dock output, shall we? And as you can see, we are outputting at 4K 60 Hertz. And HDR is definitely enabled because this is so bright, as you can tell from the titles. But let's boot up some games just to double check. All right, I have Mario Kart World booted up. Notice the difference, right, between my monitor capture, which is just kind of a standard gigabyte monitor, and then look at the difference with the HDR and quality in 4K above, right? So that is the night and day difference between playing on like a monitor and your TV. I think I had night light mode on, but even then, right, like you can definitely tell the HDR difference in the 4K pass through between a monitor and an actual good gaming TV right there. All right, and another test, I'm gonna boot up Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the Nintendo Switch 2 version. All right, just to show the loading. All right, there we go. Yep, this looks exactly like my TV downstairs, right? You get the bright HDR of the sun. You see Link right there, and then it's all getting captured as well to your monitor, to OBS. And of course, you can play like this to your monitor too. If you have a really good like 4K monitor, maybe with HDR, this could be a very viable option if you don't want to have another TV, right? Because this is a multi-purpose card, right? Most important thing is be able to, for you to game capture to your computer, so you can use like OBS, you can use Discord. Also, for the people who want to output to their TV, you have the option of outputting to your TV. All right, so speaking of Discord, right, you can also directly stream to Discord. So I'm gonna click share your screen, and what Discord is going to do, right, is that you can actually select a device, and in that device, guess what? You can select the Live Gamer 4K 2.1 video, and what that is going to do, right, is it's gonna stream your game capture card, provided that you're not using it for something else. So I'm gonna close out OBS. All right, so there we go. We are now streaming on Discord, right? And you can now easily share this to your friends who are maybe just on your Discord server. And of course, the resolution for streaming on Discord will depend on your nitro level, but that's also another option if you don't want to have to go through OBS setup. All right, so that concludes my video of setting up and reviewing the AVerMedia Live Gamer 4K 2.1. I highly recommend this device. This is a great company. I believe it's better than its competition Elgato, which I've had previously, right? And the main benefits are you're completely using your Switch 2 and its all new power console glory and outputting it at the correct 4K resolutions with VRR and HDR pass-through, you know, and you're able to capture it to your PC, right? PCIe card if you're using a desktop, or you could have their external equivalent if you have like a laptop of sorts. And I do think that being able to have a capture card in your PC makes a world of difference, especially if you're a console gamer. Not even just for the Switch 2, just be able to plug in any other compatible HDMI device and be able to stream it to your computer. It's definitely a huge quality of life improvement. Of course, this is needed if you are a game streamer or a YouTube person who wants to record videos, right? Like, I highly recommend getting one of these devices and being able to have the option of outputting it both to your monitor so you can play on your monitor, but also doing the pass-through to your TV in case you don't want to lose any quality at all. And now some people might have concerns like, oh, like, is it going to have increased latency and stuff? I've been using these for like a decade, and while I do believe there's a tiny amount of latency, it's not really noticeable to the average person. If you can get one of these devices on sale, even at full price, I fully recommend it. It's a great device, and yeah, I'll be using these for the foreseeable future to come. So as long as, you know, 4K, 144 hertz devices, HDMI 2.1 are still the norm, then I'll continue to use this. And yeah, you can capture in 4K 60, right? So remember, this can only capture in 4K 60 on your OBS and your monitor, but the pass-through is 4K 144. Hopefully you have a compatible 4K TV that can do like 4K 120, 4K 144, like the LG C series TVs, right? Those are a great choice for gamers to buy. That does it with this video. Hope you guys found this helpful, and if you like what I'm doing, want to see more Nintendo contents, tech content, and we'll have a lot of random home content to come, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.